Nigeria, with a population of 140 million, has a great deal of influence in West Africa. Although the HIV prevalence is much lower in Nigeria than in other African countries, in Nigeria, approximately 3.5 million persons are living with HIV and AIDS. This is the largest number in the world after South Africa and India. The HIV infection cuts across the strata of Nigerian society, though the worst affected are women and young adults. It is sometimes easy to feel that you are the only person with HIV, but it is worth remembering that there are thousands of people in Nigeria who have been through that same experience and are now living full and active lives. You can do this too. You are not alone. Besides, everyone is affected, even if you are negative. Bose Oloto is a mother of two. After a long bout of illnesses, Bose, a qualified laboratory scientist, tested herself and discovered she was HIV positive, and this was the onset of a totally new lifestyle for her.
I've been on treatment for past 4 years, and it hasn't been easy anyway. But I come to look at it that there are people that have some diseases that they can't even take treatment. But me, I'm opportune to take treatment. Why won't I take it? I take it in good faith, and I take it with faith.
For Victor, despite testing HIV positive, his life now is a testimonial to the fact that the infection is not a death sentence, but the beginning of a new lease of life if properly handled.
A lot of people think that, okay, they are HIV positive and then they can share the virus. If you do that, you are killing yourself, because you can get reinfected with another strain of the virus. So positive living entails that you use condom if there's a need for you to have sex. Positive living entails that you do all necessary things that will keep you from spreading the virus. And positive living entails that you think positively. Think positively, have a positive mind, a positive thought. You are not the only one that is HIV positive. There are a lot of people out there who are carrying the virus without knowing it. So, it's not the end of the world. Positive living entails that you are yourself. Plan about your dream, your visions, and actualize it.
Learning that you are infected with HIV will change your life dramatically. You may experience a wide range of emotions: fear, loss, grief, depression, denial, anger, anxiety. No matter how reassuring the doctor and your loved ones, how effective drug therapies are now and will become, how minimal the physical impact of the infection on you for the present, or how intellectually and emotionally prepared you may be, your need for support will be great. The issues faced by most persons with HIV infection revolve around uncertainty. Your future, hopes and expectations, your relationships and your career will all require some adjustment in order for you to cope with HIV and lead a happy, productive life. These experiences are better shared by people living with HIV themselves.
I was actually ill. I was feeling sick. I decided to visit my doctor, and he recommended some tests, and all boils down. Somebody saw me and like, why not do an HIV test, and we went for it, and that was like 3 years ago. I thought I would die, but I had the willingness to live, and I made up my mind that first of all I have to find out what I believe will kill me. That's how to find out about the disease. So I went on net and got to know what it takes, I can live long and things like that.
In 2002, the Nigerian government started an ambitious antiretroviral ARV treatment program to get 10,000 adults and 5,000 children onto ARVs within 1 year. Since then, there has been an increased availability of antiretrovirals for treatment of HIV. HIV counseling and testing, HCT, has proven to be one of the most powerful weapons in HIV and AIDS care and treatment. It is a key component of positive living. Knowing one's HIV status and being able to discuss this anxiety-provoking subject with a trained professional demands sustainable, positive behavior change in both infected and uninfected people. HIV counseling and testing HCT provides the bulk of initial psychological support. People consider counseling and testing for a number of reasons, some of which may apply to you. Your test result alerts you to your need to seek medical care to prevent or delay life-threatening illness. It may also help your doctor determine the cause and best treatment of the various illnesses you may have now or in the future. For example, if you are HIV positive, tuberculosis, TB, and syphilis are treated differently than if you are HIV negative. Knowing your result helps you protect your sex partners from infection and illness. If they are not infected, you can avoid infecting them. Knowing your result helps you assess the safety of having a child.
Something being voluntary is something you do without somebody forcing you, without compulsion. Something you decide to do out of your own free will. This is the ultimate and the best form of counseling that a person should have. That means you coming forward and saying, please, I want to know my HIV status. Can you please carry out a test on me? And the other aspect of it is counseling. Counseling involves talking together with your counselor, and as a client, you come to arrive at a decision together as to what to do. Taking a decision to test also involves you being counseled before your testing, which we refer to as pre-test counseling. So after you must have been provided with enough information, your mind prepared for the test, and you know the possible implications of a positive and a negative test result, that is when you go for your testing.
My message for every individual out there is for every one of us to go get tested, because it is better for us to know our status on time. If you discover the virus on time, then you are going to overcome it, because it's not good to sit on the fence, and while you sit on the fence, a lot of things could happen to you. So I count myself to be a lucky person today because I tested earlier and I know my status on time. That gives me a lot of opportunity ahead of other infections that can come around. So I will encourage every individual to go out there, get tested. You don't have to be sick before you know your status. It's better you discover the virus before the virus finds you out.
Psychological support is critical for helping individuals, couples, and families affected by HIV to cope with their fears and emotions. People living with HIV, PLHIV, and their families are confronted with additional challenges throughout the course of infection and recurrent episodes of illness. These include isolation, loss of income, medical and transport expenses, funeral costs, and the unmet needs of orphaned children for education, shelter, nutrition, clothing, and other necessities.
When I was cutting, my husband will keep on reminding me. He's also my timekeeper. He keep on reminding me, it's time to take your drugs. It's 10 o'clock, you know. It's 10 o'clock. Wake up, take your drugs. Sometimes I'm tired, I'll sleep. He'll wake me up. He'll bring water and bring the drugs. I'll take it. And it has been encouraging. When my mother was alive, she was doing the same thing also. She will tell me, have you taken your drugs? She will ask me if I've taken my drugs, and sometimes probably I'm sleeping. She'll come and wake me up and said, it's 10 o'clock. Have you taken your drugs? I'll say no. So I'll take my drugs then. So people around me always ask me if I've taken my drugs. There are people to say, have you taken your drugs? You know, that's one encouragement. And I take the drugs religiously, and I'm waiting for cure, and I will live for cure.
When I tested positive to HIV, my family were my backbone. I would say they made me live. I could remember my dad cried, and I made up my mind to leave because I know he was scared for me that his baby is going to die, and that was one of the things that engineered me to leave. And since then they have been very, very supportive. Anywhere I go, I used to tell my colleagues, my friends, that if not for them, maybe I would have died. So I very much appreciate all my family. When I mean all, I mean all extended, immediate, especially my siblings, because I'm the last kid in.
It's very essential that people try as much as possible to tell their close family about their status and about their drug treatment, because when you are keeping it, it's very most likely you will forget, you know. And when you have these people around you, they will remind you. I've had friends call me to tell me, it's almost 6 o'clock, remember to take your drugs. Not every day, but sometimes, and that is because they know. I told my son about my HIV status, though he's only 6 years old. But I told him mommy has to take a drug at 6 in the morning and 6 in the night, that this drug will help mommy to stay alive. So what he does is come and tell me, mommy, take your drug so that you won't die.
With some external support and the involvement of PL-HIV, families, community leaders, volunteers, government agencies, non-governmental and religious organizations and other community groups, existing social networks can care for ill family members and adequately support children and spouses within the home environment. Home-based care programs are cost-effective and can be sustained when there is strong community support for and involvement in running them, reinforced by quality medical and social services from nearby facilities. Major challenges remain in scaling up income generation and meeting nutritional needs of the rapidly increasing number of affected families and orphans. Having a social support network often helps, so you should reach out to trusted family and friends for support. Joining a support group for people living with HIV is often a good way to make friends, reduce feelings of isolation, and obtain useful ideas for coping with your infection. If you are living with HIV, you should take care to eat more and focus on consuming healthy foods. Proteins such as meat, fish, beans, nuts and seeds help build and maintain muscle. Energy is supplied by carbohydrates, which come from grains, cereals, vegetables and fruits. You should consume a modest amount of fat with emphasis on the simple fats found in nuts, seeds, certain vegetable oils and fish. Avoid as much as possible the harmful fats found in butter and animal products. Care should also be taken in the preparation of foods. Wash your hands before making meals and carefully wash all fruits and vegetables. Avoid raw or uncooked eggs or meat. Refrigerate leftovers and eat them within 3 days, and do not purchase or prepare food beyond its expiry date. Dr. Rosemary Anyanwu speaks.
Well, nutrition should be part and parcel of care and support for people living with HIV and AIDS. And from, when you look at HIV and AIDS as a disease that attacks the immune system, you understand that nutrition plays a major role in keeping the components of the immune system strong. Without good nutrition, whether micronutrient nutrition or macronutrient nutrition, the components of the immune system will require adequate balanced nutrition to function effectively. And when the HIV virus attacks the cell and destroys the lymphocyte cells, as the patient goes on even ART, they need to be on good nutrition for the cells to repair